So this first one we've got 3 strings, and you can see we've got content in the first one. Second one we set to null, and the third one we sent to a bunch of blanks. And then we're checking. So if string dot is null or white space S1, if this is true, okay, then it's going to print string 1 contains white space or null. Well, it's not true. Waterfalls is not a space and it is not a null. So this is going to be false. So what it's going to do is going to print this. Waterfalls is a valid string. Then it's going to check S2. Well, S2 is null. So it says string is null or white space. It is null. So it is going to retrieve true. So this is going to test true, and it is going to print that out. And then it's going to check string 3. String 3 is space. So this is also going to be true. So it's going to print string 3 contains white space or null. In this case, it happens to be white space. So you can see it did print for string 2 and string 3. So this example uses multiple string and character methods. The is null or white space and is null or empty methods are used to validate a string. The string is then run through a loop, and each character in the string is checked to see if it is a letter, a number, a symbol, or a space. Total number of each type of character is tallied. The beginning and ending characters in the phrase are also examined using starts with and ends with. And then once the program ends, we're going to see a summary of the results. So here we've got, because we're going to be tallying the number of letters, the number of digits, the number of symbols, the number of spaces, and anything else. So we've got these variables that we set to zero. Enter a phrase, and I'll tell you about it. So we read the phrase that was entered. And first, we're going to make sure that it is not null or white space, null or empty, or null or white space. So we're saying string dot is null or empty phrase, or string dot is null or white space phrase. If these are true, if either of these are true, they didn't enter a string. So your phrase cannot be empty or blank. Please try again. And so we're basically here validating that the string has something in it, because it cannot be a space and it cannot be null. Okay, so this ensures that the string has something in it. And then once we get through validating the string for content, then you can see that we are taking the phrase and getting the length, which you can do with a string. So remember, we used length with arrays. You can do that with a string too. So here we are going to stay in this loop, and we are basically going to look at every single character in that string. And we are going to determine, if it's a letter, a digit, a symbol, or if it's a blank, or if it's anything else. Okay, so first we are checking, and we are indexing in, and we are grabbing the very first letter. Okay, that is at position 0, at index 0. So we're looking at that first letter, and we're saying, is this a letter? If it's true, add 1 to letter count. Okay, and if it's not true, check to see if it's a digit. Is this a digit? If that's true, add 1 to digit count. If it's not true, let's check to see if it's a symbol. If it's true, add 1 to symbol count. If it's not true, we're checking to see if maybe it's a blank. If it is, we add 1 to space count. Otherwise, If it gets down here, that means every single one of these tested false. So we're just going to add one to other count. So we know it's not any of those things that we tested. Okay, so this is going to go through every single letter and space in our phrase and calculate, how many letters, how many digits, how many symbols, and so on. Then we are going to check to see what our phrase starts with. So we're checking to see if it starts with the letter A. And if it does, we're just printing out, yep, your phrase starts with the letter A. Then we're going to check to see if it starts with the word the, because an awful lot of sentences start with the word the. And if it does, then we print out, yep, your phrase starts with the word the. Then we check to see if it ends in a period or if it ends in a question mark. And if it does, we print out the appropriate sentence. And then we do a little summary of what our phrase is comprised of. Okay, and so first we give it the letter count. Okay, so that's how many letters are in it. And then we tell it how many digits, how many spaces, and then how many things are not letters, digits, or spaces. So if you want to see this run, and I would encourage you guys to run it. Let's see if I can get it all highlighted here. Helps if you zoom out. All right, I'm going to copy. And let me pause this while I pull up a project. All right, so here is the code I just copied and pasted. So let us run this. Hopefully. Oops, looks like there is. Oh, it does not like, somehow that got split. All right, let's see. Probably likes it better now. Okay, let's try it again. All right. I love dark chocolate. All right, ends with the period, has 18 letters in it, 0 numbers, 3 spaces, 0 symbols, 1 other character. All right, so I believe that worked. And you guys kind of play around with it. And if you don't like some of the spacing, you can feel free to fix it. So down here, yeah, I think it probably needs a /n here. Like I said, feel free to fix it if you don't like how that looks. Let's see. Turkey. Swimming. Yep, that looks a little better, but I think you guys get the idea.